Let's go! Let's go! The Flyers, they move on to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time for 8 years, since 2012. It's been a while since the Flyers made it past the first round. We finally have a team that can get past the first round. We finally have a goaltender that can help us in the playoffs and make the saves when they matter. Oh my god, this game right here, Game 6. I was confident the Flyers can win going into Game 6. I was confident they were going to bounce back, and once again, they did it again. They proved to us that they're the team from the regular season. They can bounce back after a loss. And this game, honestly, this game was a description of all the previous games during this series. You got games 1, 3, and 4. The Flyers mainly controlled the pace, and they won those games. I would say Game 1, Montreal woke up a little bit. They got their pace in there. But the Flyers, they managed to come out of that game. Game 2 and 5, Montreal controlled pace for pretty much the entire games. In Games 2 and 5, Montreal shutting out the Flyers in 2. Montreal just consistently coming at the Flyers when they were scoring goals, and they won that game. And this game was basically a mix mash of every other game in this series. Montreal controlling the pace, a really good start by the Flyers pinning it down defensively when it mattered. And the Flyers, they come out on top. They beat the Montreal Canadiens 3-2. Game 6. And the Flyers, they move on to play the New York Islanders in round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Ooh, that's nice to hear. That is very nice to hear. And you get a little bit of after the game, Derek Grant patting the head of Nick Suzuki after what Suzuki did to Carter Hart in Game 5 after he tapped him on the head after one of the Montreal goals. And it created a little bit of a scrum because, Montreal would have responded to that if the Flyers did that. But hey, Derek Grant showing off Nick Suzuki right there. And out of all the people, it's Derek Grant. I just found that pretty funny. Then you get the little scuffle at the end. Carter Hart coming up to Nick Suzuki for a little bit. And then you saw the handshakes at the end of the game. Carter Hart going up to handshake his idol. His idol since he was a child, basically. Carey Price. That was something right there. Is basically the best goaltender in the league right there. Handing off the torch, even though that's me being overly dramatic. Still, that was a very nice moment to see. Kid meeting his idol, and he beats him in the series. He meets him in a playoff handshake. That's a very nice sight to see right there. And the Flyers, like I said, they managed to survive this series. They played down, did not play down. They hampered it down defensively when it mattered, especially in that third period. That third period was something beautiful. Defensively, the Flyers hammered it down. They kept Montreal to the outside. They clogged up the neutral zone and gave Montreal little to no chances. Montreal got their chances, but they were mainly to the outside. Carter Hart was able to make the saves, and the Flyers, they managed. There were some points where they couldn't clear the zone, but the Flyers managed to get the puck out of the zone. They managed to hamper it down defensively. In the beginning of the game, Montreal was all over the Flyers. The Flyers had no business in basically halfway into the first and all of the second period. The Flyers, I think, halfway through this game only had 7 shots on the net, and 3 of them were goals. So that, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because 3 goals on 7 shots can kind of show that Carey Price is not on his game, even though the Flyers were getting some greasy goals right there. But that also means the Flyers still aren't shooting enough. You have 3 goals on 7 shots. Just get into the zone and shoot the puck. But that was basically most of the game right here. Montreal was controlling pace throughout basically more than half of the game, except for that third period. And the Flyers, they survive the game, they win it, and they move on. And basically, it doesn't matter how you win the game. Good teams will always find a way to win the game. And you got to give credit to Montreal. Montreal stayed with the Flyers basically the entire series. Montreal, they never went away. The Flyers would never be able to put them down. Even though games 3 and 4, the Flyers played very well defensively and got those shutouts from Carter Hart. Montreal was still a really good team. They were still coming at the Flyers. They were still getting their chances. They didn't go away the entire series, and when they were down 3-1, they proved it in Game 5 that, hey, you're not going to get this easy series win. We are still in it. We are still going to hammer you down. And Montreal, they played one hell of a series. A lot of the young people in Montreal just showing up right there. Nick Suzuki looking like he's going to be a stud, even though he got into a lot of hatred from the Flyers fans. Jesperi Kotkaniemi played very well. And Philippe Deneau, that center core for Montreal. It's going to be something once they start to get more experience in the NHL, especially Kakaniemi and Suzuki. Those two were a force in this series, especially Suzuki. He scores 2 goals in this game. A very nice series played by Montreal, and hey, they weren't given a chance going back to their series against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They proved everyone wrong, and they stayed with the Flyers the entire series. So you got to give them credit where credit is due. So let's go over this game. Let's see what happened with the Flyers and the Montreal Canadiens. So the Flyers, they got off to a very hot start. 30 seconds into this game, off of an icing faceoff in the offensive zone, Kevin Hayes wins the faceoff back to Ivan Provorov. He brings it up the left side, throws the biscuit onto the net. It deflects off of Shea Weber and behind Carey Price, and the Flyers get a 1-0 lead early into this game. And the Flyers, they aren't done there. The Flyers get a power play, and they don't score on it. The Flyers, they're getting their looks, but they're really not able to generate anything. But the second unit comes out there, the power play expires, and then you get all this patience from Kevin Hayes. Brings it around the net. He's patient. He flings it to Carey Price, and it goes through him and off of his pad and into the net. It squeaks right in there, and the Flyers make it 2-0 right from the get-go. That's a very great start right there. 2-0, not even 5 minutes into the game. But then Montreal, they start to wake up a little bit. They're starting to generate the pace of the play, and they're starting to get the forecheck into the Flyers zone. Montreal's controlling the pace right here. And from this, they draw a penalty. Phil Myers takes a bad holding penalty, and Montreal goes to the power play. And they don't take that long to get anything going. Montreal, got Joel Armia right into the slot. He's not being covered at all. Gets the puck, throws it onto the net. It kind of bloops in the air for a little bit, lands on the stick of Nick Suzuki, and he manages to get it just by Carter Hart. And Montreal makes this a 2-1 game. And from the rest of the play right there, Montreal was controlling the pace of the play. The Flyers got their chances with a little bit of some odd man rushes. Jake Voracek gets a chance on a near breakaway. There's a little bit of a 2-on-1 for Scott Lawn. He takes a shot. Carey Price makes a save. The Flyers were getting their chances. JVR had a chance on a one-timer from the slot. The Flyers just couldn't get anything by Carey Price. They were getting their shots in that period, but Montreal was really controlling the pace of the play. The Flyers were really trying to generate stuff off of Montreal turnovers, because Montreal, when they got into the zone, they forechecked the Flyers defensemen incredibly hard. They made the Flyers defensemen second-guess each other. And credit, the Flyers in this game, they're not playing with Matt Niskanen. He was suspended for this game after his cross-checked on Brendan Gallagher, which basically caused Gallagher to have his jaw broken and be out for the rest of the series because he needed surgery on that jaw. So, you lose Matt Niskanen, and the Flyers, they're playing Shane Gostisbehere, and honestly, Shane Gostisbehere, early on in this game, it was a little iffy. He was showing some confidence later on in the game, especially in that third period. Gostisbehere was really good in that third period. But you had to swap up the defending pairs a little bit. Justin Braun has to play a little more time. Ivan Provorov with the double shifting. So you're basically just mixing and matching the defensive pairs throughout the game, basically except for Phil Myers and Travis Sanheim, because those are the really two pairs that I would say stood together the entire game. You would see sometimes Provorov out there with Braun, Provorov out there with Gostisbehere. It was really just like Provorov either double shifting or Braun double shifting. And that's what happens when you lose a guy like Matt Niskanen, and it shakes up the defensive pairs a little bit. So, very sloppy early on defensively. Montreal was controlling the pace. They were getting their chances. And we go into the first intermission with the Flyers up 2-1. And the Flyers in the second period, not the prettiest of hockey. They only got one shot in that second period, like halfway through. And that one shot was a goal when the first line was pushing on an offensive rush. You got Jake Voracek on the left side, bringing it back down to Travis Sanheim, who throws it on the net. It goes off the post, and it goes off of Carey Price's butt, and it rolls into the net, and it's a 3-1 Flyers lead. It also did go off of Michael Raffl before the puck hit the post, so this would be Michael Raffl's goal, and it is a 3-1 Flyers lead right from there. But then Montreal, they don't take that long to respond either. A little bit of a defensive mishap in the end of the zone. Defensive mishap. Carter Hart can't handle the puck behind the net. He can't settle it down. Montreal pushes on the puck, and it's Jonathan Drouin bringing it right to the front of the net, who has a wide open Nick Suzuki on the other side, who one-times it right past Carter Hart, and it is a 3-2 Montreal lead. So Carter Hart couldn't control the puck behind the net, had to go back. Jonathan Drouin jumps right on it, and there's no one covering Nick Suzuki to basically take him away from that puck. So he basically just gets his wide open opportunity, and he cashes in for his second goal of the game. And that's been the telltale of this entire series. When the Flyers would score their goals, Montreal always had a response. The Flyers, they couldn't get that extra goal to basically put them away. Montreal always stayed with it. They always had the response. And that was basically one of the things from Game 5. When the Flyers scored, Montreal responded right away. And that happened right here. When the Flyers made it 2-0, Montreal made it 2-1 on the power play. When the Flyers made it 3-1, Montreal responded and made it 3-2. So the Flyers making a little bit of defensive mishaps right here. And they really couldn't generate anything right there. The Flyers had a couple power plays in the first period. They couldn't do anything on it. The power play didn't look as good as it did in Game 5. Not really any chances for the power play in that second period. The Flyers really couldn't get any shots at all. Travis Konechny had a breakaway in the second period. Couldn't get it past Carey Price. He had him beat. I think Carey Price just got the pad on it to deflect it wide. If Konechny just got it a little bit over to the left, he probably would have got posted and would have went right in. Carey Price made a nice save on that. But it's also bothersome to me because when the Flyers, they go on these breakaways, they just shoot it. They don't try to make the goalie move. They don't try to do like a little bit of a fancy deke right there to get the goalie moving. Because on a breakaway, you got to get the goalie moving. If you're just going to take that simple wrist shot, I think the goalie's going to stop that 95% of the time. You got to get the goalie moving. You got to get him questioning the play right there. So another breakaway right there and another goal that was probably missed by the Flyers. So second period, basically controlled by Montreal the entire way. They were forechecking into the Flyers zone, and the Flyers really couldn't do anything about it. The Flyers, it took them forever to get some shots in that period, but they eventually did. But it wasn't good. It wasn't a good second period by any means. The Flyers had no business in that second period. They were lucky they got that goal. And you go into the second intermission, up 3-2 still. So you still have a lead after you were basically being outplayed the entire period. I don't know if you can generate confidence off of that. I don't know what you do in that locker room, but something changed in the Flyers coming out in that third period. Because the Flyers just shut it down defensively. They were getting into those greasy areas. They were keeping Montreal to the outside of the zone. And they gave Montreal a difficult time trying to set up everything. Montreal, they had some chances in this period. They had some chances from the shots on the point. And they really couldn't get anything done. Carter Hart had to make some saves. And the Flyers, they just hampered it down defensively. A lot of block shots in that third period. And it was just, honestly, this third period was basically games 3 and 4, the way the Flyers played defensively. They just made it difficult for Montreal. They were clogging the neutral zone and forcing the play around the boards. And that's what you have to do against this team. You got to keep the play outside of the boards. Don't let Montreal get to the net. Don't let them get those rebounds. And Carter Hart, he was there to make the saves, which was very important. The Flyers, they had some chances in this period too. They really couldn't get anything by Carey Price once again. But hey, the Flyers managed to hamper it down. Montreal, at the end of the game, they try to pull Carey Price. Flyers make it difficult once again. And it's just like, when you get to the end of the game, you get to the final 10 seconds, and you ice the puck because you're trying to score. Tyler Pitlick, he cleared the puck all the way down the zone. I guess he was trying to score, but it went into an icing. So it's like those final face-offs when there's like 10 seconds left, those are the ones that are more crucial. Nate Thompson, he wins the face-off, he brings it back to the boards, and he basically holds it there for a good chunk of that time. And the puck stays behind there, and that's your game right there. A little bit of a scuffle at the end of the game after Derek Grant puts the pat on the head for Nick Suzuki. But the Flyers, they get the handshakes, they move on into the second round, and they're going to be facing the New York Islanders. Whew, what a time to be a Flyers fan right here. And honestly, I'm a little bit nervous about the Islanders because during the regular season, the Flyers and the Islanders, they gave us a pretty tough time. The Flyers did not win any game during the series this year against the New York Islanders. They went 0-2-1, especially during one of those games where the Flyers could have won it, but the Islanders scored very late to win the game. It was one of those games where the Flyers were down very early in this game by a lot of goals. They came back and tied it, and the Islanders scored in the final seconds to win the game. Those are one of those heartbreakers right there, but I'm kind of nervous, but I'm also confident at the same time because it is a different Flyers team. I feel like it's going to be around a similar type of series that the Flyers just had with the Montreal Canadiens. The Islanders are a very fast team. They have a lot of skilled players, but they're not as gritty as Montreal. So I feel like it's going to be more of basically a defensive series once again. So the Flyers, they got to hamper it down defensively once again against the New York Islanders. And even though, like I said, I'm nervous to face the Islanders, I feel like they give the Flyers a lot of difficult problems, especially during the regular season. Any team that has Barry Trotz behind the bench, they're going to be a very good team. They can roll four lines, and their goaltenders have been solid for them the entire season, Tomas Greiss and Semyon Varlamov. But the one thing that I can say for the Islanders that I don't trust them with, I don't feel like their goaltending can carry them that far. Even though Varlamov did not have to carry them against the Capitals series, the Islanders just completely outplayed the Capitals. But I feel like the Flyers, they're a much better team than the Capitals. They can roll four lines out there. They can score at will with any of their lines. And they're going to make it difficult for the Islanders. But the Islanders are basically going to be doing the same thing to the Flyers. So it's basically, I feel like it's going to be a very even match series. But I feel like the Flyers have the advantage in net. And I feel like that's where it's going to come down to. Basically another goaltending battle. So, it's going to be very exciting. I'm not sure when the Flyers played their first game because we got Tampa Bay playing Sunday against the Boston Bruins. That series is set for round 2. And I think tomorrow already, it's going to be Dallas and the Colorado Avalanche. So they're getting round 2 started right away. So basically the only team that doesn't know their round 2 opponent is the Vegas Golden Knights because right now it's St. Louis and Vancouver playing each other. In Game 6, Vancouver has a chance to move on if they win this game. But St. Louis can force a Game 7, so Vegas, they might be waiting a little bit to see who their opponent is going to be, either St. Louis or Vancouver. So, I feel like the Flyers, since Tampa Bay and Boston are playing Sunday, I feel like the Flyers can possibly play on Monday, or they can play on Tuesday. It just depends on when the NHL schedules them. But I feel like it's going to be a very exciting series against the New York Islanders. It's going to be a very good chance for the Flyers to prove themselves even more against an Islanders team who has more experience because they went to the second round last year, and you're facing another coach. It's going to be another very good head coaching battle. Barry Trotz versus Alain Vigneault. It's going to be a very exciting series, and I can't wait for it. Flyers, second round. We haven't been there for 8 years. Get pumped. Let's go. Whew. Very excited. Let's go. So, what are your thoughts on this game against the Montreal Canadiens? What are your thoughts on the Flyers going in the round 2? How do you think they face up against the New York Islanders? Do you think they have an advantage? Do you think the Islanders scare you a little bit? Or do you think it's going to be more of an evenly matched series? So don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to drop a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time.